can be won by either side.
Touchdown now in 8 quarters. What's with Elway?
I don't know what's with Elway. He's been sacked 4 times, and he's thrown 2 interceptions. Anything else?
Well, that's about it. And now it's 11 interceptions on the year for John Elway. Miami surprisingly easy over the Raiders, 24-0. That game at halftime as well. Phoenix beating up on Pittsburgh. The Cardinals could go to 4-2. Big afternoon thus far for Neil Lomax, 24-7 at halftime in that one. They're now in the 3rd quarter in San Diego. The Chargers are leading the New Orleans Saints 14-13 there. The Cincinnati Bengals have gone to 6-0. Final score of 36-19 over the Jets. Ickey Woods, one of the big stories for Cincinnati. 30 carries for 139 yards and 2 touchdowns. The Bengals are for real the only undefeated team in the league now at 6-0. Seattle beat Cleveland. The Browns lost their 4th quarterback, and Mike Pagel 16-10 the final there for Seattle as Don Strock had to take over. Buffalo beating Indianapolis 34-23. Buffalo goes to 5-1. The Colts dropping to 1-5. A bad game in Houston. Houston defeating Kansas City 7-6. The Oilers are surprising 4-2. Green Bay finally gets its first win for their new head coach, Lindy Infante. Gets it in week number 6, 45-3 the final. Raymond Berry with lots to worry about for the Patriots. For one thing, he has to worry about his defense. Take a look at Brent Fullwood, 33 yards. Nobody can stop him. And the Packers rolling up to a 24-3 lead. And Darryl Stingley was on hand. Remember Jack Tatum's hit paralyzed him 10 years ago? Steve Grogan was the quarterback that fateful night at the Coliseum. Well, today Grogan throwing for Stanley Morgan. He's hit by Chuck Cecil, and it was shades of 10 years ago. And Morgan was carried off on a stretcher. The late word from the hospital is he suffered a concussion. He's being held for observation. A scary moment there in Milwaukee. Chicago defeating Detroit. The Bears go to 5-1. Final score there of 24-7. The Rams beating up on Atlanta. Tough year for Falcon fans. Hardly anybody showed up. 33-0 the final score there. Washington defeating Dallas fairly handily. 35-17. The Super Bowl champs go to 3-3. Minnesota edged Tampa Bay 14-13 the final. Tampa Bay with a late field goal attempt came just a second late. And in baseball, the A's going for the 4-game sweep. They lead the Red Sox 4-1.
San Francisco. Their fans here in the Bay Area hope they're Super Bowl bound again, but it's been a reverse sort of nightmare for John Elway on this street.
The problem has shown up in Elway's continued rash of interceptions. He's had 2 here so far in the first half to add to that desperate total on the season. And Elway, partly just because of the pressure that's coming on him, sacked 4 times here in the first half. They've been putting some real heat on Elway, and of course, when you get that kind of pressure, it's difficult to make good decisions.
Alan Elway's used his legs and his strength in the past, Merlin, to be able to extricate himself from trouble. And there under pressure, he flip-flops a pass right into the arms of Keena Turner. And that gave the 49ers another chance that they wasted when a field goal snap went awry.
I'm sure he's saying to himself after being in that locker room, look, let's put that half behind us. We're not so far away. But his day has not been all sterling either.
He's 9 for 17. He's had a pass intercepted by a defensive lineman, but he scored the game's only touchdown with his legs, not his arm.
Watch this hole open up for him. And it's a design play, quarterback draw, and just a tough play to stop for a defense. There was room for both of us to walk in there with him on that play, Dick.
Yeah, John Brody, you used to see him, and he occasionally would call that number and successfully score on that quarterback draw. 9 yards for San Francisco, and yet they have only 10 points.
Certainly not the kind of numbers that you would expect if you looked on this scoring board. And as you said earlier, could well be that those points could be much higher for the 49ers.
Roger Craig, the leading rusher, as we said, 42 yards in the first half. He had another big gain called back because of a penalty. They stretch out the muscular Craig, who does some modeling for Macy's as well.
Stretching his hamstrings there, and his concern is to make sure that those hamstrings are as loose and flexible as they possibly can be.
So Mike Kofer gets it teed up, and we'll have the start of the second half. Denver getting the ball first. And the breeze, which was really non-existent at the start of the game, might be a factor in this second half.
They're going to have to hold the ball on the tee. It won't even stay there. Look at those flags, and it's, I think, the breeze even more vicious at field level. The young ladies had a hard time with their flags.
This kickoff is sponsored by Budweiser, the king of beers. And it swirls down to Bell at the goal line. Ken Bell of the Broncos has a seam and gets to the 26-yard line. Now John Elway and the Bronco offense comes on the field. Elway 13 for 27, and you look at third quarter scoring, and San Francisco has enjoyed this period while Denver sluggish. And for the Broncos, they've now gone 8 quarters and an overtime without scoring a touchdown. Going all the way back to that really heartbreaker when they lost to the Raiders. That is, I'm not sure they really recovered totally emotionally from that loss when they had the Raiders beaten 24-0 at the half. Elway buying some time on the rollout and steps out of bounds at the 31-yard line, a gain of 5.
This Denver Bronco team has relied so thoroughly on the talents of John Elway to bail them out. Reeves always gracious in his praise of Elway, but there was like two offenses. The offense that would start with, and they'd run a play, and when it broke down, then you took over with Elway's offense. And it was often that second offense, the great improvising of Elway, that made the difference for the Broncos in the ballgame.
That's right, Merlin. We heard it from coach after coach facing Denver. How do you keep Elway, contain him, contain Elway? He could beat you by manufacturing points. Sammy Winder dropped for a loss. Michael Carter, the all-pro nose tackle.
Carter working on Billy Bryant, the center, and he is so quick to the gap, just sliding off and being there almost ahead of Winder on that play.
3rd down and 6, and so in comes that nickel package for the 49ers.
You'll see it on the right-hand side of your screen. Number 95, all by himself, had dumped Billy Bryant on the ground to get the solo tackle.
Elway, 3 wide receivers to the right, and now he brings Sewell in back as a protector over the middle and
Dropped the football.
Ricky Nattiel unable to hang on at the 37-yard line. Eric Wright on the coverage as they went with 6 defensive backs.
So often this first offensive series will set the tone, and if that's the case, Denver is in trouble. They have certainly not done anything to change the momentum in this ball game here in the first series of the second half.
Don Griffin, 29, and 82 John Taylor drift back as Haran to punt. He kicked 4 times for a 45-yard average in the first half. This one up in the wind. Taylor able to spin away from the first man downfield and then is tackled at the 30-yard line.
Great kick into that wind. Great kick.
42 yards on the kick, a 2-yard return. So there's your 40-yard net.
Sam Grady, the sprinter, was the man that was down there to try that first tackle. It just missed him. You got to catch him like the football, Sam. You got to catch him.
Roger Craig looking for 6 straight games of 100 yards total offense. 55 in the first half, so he's on course. And he gets the call on the first play of the second half. Good yardage before he's out of bounds at the 37-yard line. Jim Ryan makes the hit, a 7-yard pickup.
Coming into this ball game, Craig averaging 4.9 a carry, which is a huge average for a running back. Well, look at him just little dip inside. Ryan doing a good job, number 50, of getting off the blocker to push to the sideline.
On 2nd and 3, Craig with a first down and more.
Look out.
All the way to the 48 of Denver.
Acceleration and leg strength. Roger Craig just showing you both of those as he pulls out of a tackle and just pops through that opening.
15 more yards. He said, as a halfback, I have to be more patient, read that defense, and then react, not just react.
Mecklenburg, who was the man who missed the tackle there.
And there's Mecklenburg as he's taken out. Boy, it's going to be so tough. Look at that right hand with that heavy bandage. He's really playing one-handed. On first down after a 15-yard game. Montana. Wide open, incomplete. Mike Wilson, and the wind really carried that ball, drifted it.
And this is where playing in this stadium certainly an advantage. Montana and his troops know the tricky winds here, but when it's blowing like this, it's too tricky even for Montana.
So it's 2nd and 10. Carl Mecklenburg back in.
Boy, that wind is strong enough to almost pick the football right up and lift it off on its own.
Really swirling the dirt off the baseball infield. Here comes Craig. Ryan can't get him. Mike Harden knocks him out of bounds at the 35-yard line. Another first down. And Craig running rampant. Rabid Roger Craig here in the third quarter.
Craig just running right through an opportunity for a tackle by Jim Ryan. And Ryan has slowed a little bit. Not able to get there, not able to put even a half-hearted tackle on Craig on that play. And another defensive back down for Denver.
Tyrone Braxton.
Boy, that is horrible news. The Broncos decimated already. They've had real trouble holding people together. There's the missed tackle by Ryan. And you can't arm tackle Craig. You've got to wrap and hook. Look at him dip and just drive. He's still not on the ground. Braxton looks like he'll be back into this game, but the Broncos so thin at this point that you wonder who they're going to put into this ball game.
Roger Craig with 78 yards now rushing in the game. That puts him over 500 yards for the year. He's 6 feet tall. He's down from 224. Weighs around 212 now. Hit in the backfield, still breaks free, and the second man, Simon Fletcher, along with Mecklenburg, able to make the tackle. Mecklenburg finally wrestled him down.
The first hit by Walt Boyer, who was slanting inside. And one of the things that Joe Collier will do when he has that defense slanting, they'll occasionally get a good seam, pop free. And when you get a shot like that, you got to put it back down on the ground. Make him fumble if you can. There's the signal going in. One of the difficult parts of this Denver defense, it's so complex that you don't just step in and play in it.
2nd down and 11. Montana off a play fake. Underneath to Craig. And Craig, who leads all receivers, 35 catches coming into the game. That's his first catch today. It goes second catch. Goes for 6 yards. And a dust storm off the southern end of Candlestick Park, the baseball end.
A virtual hurricane here, and Joe Montana thought he was hit by a hurricane that time as Sean Knight leveled him just as he threw that football, and he got up a little bit groggily, but he's gotten back into the huddle now. Takes a signal from Steve Young on the sideline and drops down into the huddle.
3rd down, a short 6. Leading 10-3. Early in the third quarter. Over the middle to Rice. And he has a first down. A flag is down, however, where one would suspect holding. Randy Robbins made the tackle. Let's see if it counts.
And it is against the 49ers. You saw the frustration, the instant reaction of both Walsh and Montana. So hard to get a completion with that wind howling. And playing in this stadium, you almost have to prepare a team like you would a cold weather team. There are going to be days when you have to rely on the running game and those short passes.
That's like 2 different days. The first half,
74 offense, 10 yards, 1 down.
you can hear the wind through the microphone of Jim Tunney. Well, on this day where the Oakland A's across the bay are in the World Series, let's see what else is happening. Back to New York.
All right, Dick, thank you. Not far from you, the Oakland A's have done it. The 4-game sweep over the Red Sox. The final score was 4-1. You're watching the final out. Eckersley pitching to Jody Reed to Mike Gallego for the final out. The final 4-1 at the Oakland A's sweep. Let's go back to Dick and Merlin.
And the home run hitter for the 49ers, Roger Craig, down to the 30 to 29-yard line. After the penalty, he gets the holding yardage back, but it is short of the first down and brings up 4th down, and the field goal unit comes on.
Craig Craig showing you again that great leg strength. And that's one of the ways that you measure a running back is by how many tackles they can pull out of, how many tackles they can avoid. And Craig doing a great job of that here today.
This is going to be a difficult kick for Kofer with the swirling winds. It's a 47-yard attempt.
It is downwind, however. I mean,
if indeed it's a true downwind. I'm not sure how that's the way it swirls here. Look at that.
Look at the grass wiggle on this one. It's going to be tough to snap. Randy Cross is going to have his hands full getting it back on the snap.
And you'll remember the last snap went right through Steve Young's hands. In fact, so windy at 47 yards that Denver defense may be reminding themselves, watch out for a fake. Kofer hit from 37 yards in the first quarter. It's 10-3, San Francisco. It is hits the upright and bounces back, no good. Boy, if anything, I thought it would drift to the left. It stayed right on the right upright all the way. Timeout.
Airlines, something special in the air.
Yeah, those treacherous winds of Candlestick Park, a factor in the second half as Denver, after the missed field goal, takes over just inside their 30-yard line, trailing 10-3. Tony Dorsett for a yard, maybe two. Dorsett has not been a factor today. The great star out of Pittsburgh. He, in comparison to Roger Craig, who has 87 yards on the ground, the Broncos managing but 36 as a team.
Not much in the way of productivity, and that's the bad news. The good news, Elway one play away from being able to tie this game up, and certainly for the domination that the 49ers have had, they have not had it on the scoreboard.
It's like the 49ers getting the bases loaded 3 straight innings and not getting any runs in. It stays at 10-3. Elway protected a little better, and then it's deflected. He's trying to throw around the defensive charge and couldn't get his pass upfield.
Well, you'd think that the wind would be at the backs of the Denver Broncos for the fourth quarter, but that's not guaranteed here in this stadium. You never know which way the wind is going to be blowing. All you know right now is that it's in Elway's face, and it's going to make it very difficult to throw the football.
Looked like Jeff Stouffer might have gotten a piece of that. Number 72. The flags are not necessarily a true test of wind direction.
We do know it is blowing very hard.
Elway from behind, able to wiggle free and throw upfield, complete to Vance Johnson, and a first down at the 47. Johnson wide open.
Now that's the kind of play that we have watched Elway make so many times, pulling out of traffic, getting away from what appeared to be a sure sack, and then making the accurate throw. Vance Johnson right there to pick up this first down.
He was so wide open, he was surprised no one hit him early.
I think he expected one of those safeties, Ronnie Lauder Fuller, to put a helmet in his back when he caught that one.
In fact, it was Larry Roberts, defensive lineman, who came to down him. At the 47, first down, 8 minutes, 50 seconds left, third quarter. Denver trails San Francisco 10-3. Winder finds a hole. 40, 35 with a blocker. Johnson trying to help him out, and out of bounds goes Winder at the 17-yard line. That's the biggest running play of the day for the Broncos. Almost equals the entire total. 35 yards for Winder.
You're going to have a chance as we start this play and open it up. Let Orson Mobley come in on the left-hand side of your picture. Let it start just for a second here. Wind it, guys, if you would. Stop it right there. Orson Mobley is going to lead in here and throw a great block to lead that play. Watch him right there. He seals it off inside. Good job by Bishop. And then Winder just pops it loose to make a big, big gain.
Vance Johnson downfield to try to help with a block. First down at the 17 of San Francisco. Winder again, spinning and fighting to the 11-yard line. So Winder's around the 70-yard mark rushing at this point. Michael Walder first with a hit for San Francisco. Here's Walder, played at Oregon. Was the #1 tackler for the 49ers last year. Was originally drafted by the Cowboys in 1983. They released him.
This is the area of the field that the Broncos have had trouble. They've had trouble getting it into the end zone. They need the touchdown.
Winder again. Around the ankles and a flag down. They may call a late hit on number 75, Kevin Fagan. Ricky Ellison had the ball carrier on the ground, and Fagan appeared to be a step late on his hit.
Tunney warning Keith Karts to move off. Karts obviously angry at what was happening, as the call will indeed go against the San Francisco 49ers. Move the ball to a first down position inside the 5-yard line.
Tunney measuring the sidelines. It's half the distance to the goal.
Personal foul, unnecessary roughness, number 75. Half the distance to the goal line, first down.
It was Fagan. So first and goal at the 4 for a team that has not scored a touchdown in 8 quarters plus an overtime.
The end of that play, at the top of your screen, you saw Fagan, number 75, stacking. He drew the flag.
Oops, movement by the Bronco offensive line, no play. Before the snap, someone on the left side, Dave Studdard, who has just been activated, the veteran from Texas, playing on the end position to the left.
Playing a third tight end in short yardage, and he makes a critical mistake.
70, offense, false start.
He's been on IR with a knee injury, and he came back, and his timing has got to be rusty. I got to tell you, that's a sour feeling. You know your team needs a touchdown. You sense his anger and frustration. There he is, just misjudging the snap count.
Boy, does that change the situation. First and goal at the 4 to first and goal at the 9. Winder, the only back behind Elway. And it's Winder again. He's been the workhorse on this drive, and he's close to the 5-yard line.
He picks up about 5 yards. That's the 5 they lost on the penalty. But the last 5 are going to be the toughest, and they've only got 3 downs to do it.
Coming in with a play from the sidelines as Mobley goes out is Tony Dorsett. Winder, 4 straight carries. This is the 27th possession since Denver has scored a touchdown. Dorsett. That's not there. The 49ers have dropped him for a big loss.
Virtually telegraphed on that play, and there were 9 49ers, 9 red uniforms out there. Watch the pursuit by this 49er defense. They read the play so quickly they were almost there ahead of Dorsett. You'll see Tony driving to the outside. Look at the number of 49er defensive players. 2, 4, 5, 6, 7 in your picture, and only 1 blocker, and Tony Dorsett.
That wasn't a tackle. That was a team party. Now Dan Reeves looks at third and goal from just inside the 10. Wilhite doesn't fool anybody. The 49ers really rising defensively, and now the Broncos and 49ers at a little push and shove. Haley was in the midst of it. Keith Bishop for Denver.
Could be that goes back to that earlier penalty when there were obvious anger, and the obvious anger and emotion just carried over. You saw Reeves talking to Vance Johnson, upset about something on that pattern. I think frustrated at the read that Johnson made on the defense, and he is still cooking Johnson on the sideline.
And yet they called 3 running plays from that first and goal situation. No passes.
Maybe missed the block.
Harless will try a 27-yard field goal. He hit a 27-yarder in the first half. Into the wind. He's got it. So the Broncos get the field goal, but once again, a touchdown opportunity is lost, and it's Denver trailing by 4. almost missed it. A fair catch by Sidney at the 35-yard line.
He may have been trying an onside kick, knowing that wind would hold it up. Hard to tell whether that was deliberate or unintentional. If it was unintentional, it certainly was an ugly kick.
And Sidney very wisely calling the fair catch on the play.
Let's see what kind of power that Carlos brings to the ball. Well, it looked like it kind of slipped out of the hands of the holder just as Carlos got there.
Here's a reverse to Jerry Rice. They love this play. And the 49ers, Rice boomed out of bounds at the 46-yard line. He's okay, bounces to his feet.
Boy, he really took a shot.
That's the 6th time that Rice has run the ball this year, and he has 71 yards for those 6 attempts.
Not a bad average for a runner. Watch the hit at the end of this play. Haynes and Harden, the two defensive players, and it's Haynes, 36, who just cracks him hard. Rice, tough. He's right back up off the ground.
First down at the 46 of San Francisco. Roger Craig to midfield. And maybe to the 49.
San Francisco 49ers, I think, feeling good about their success so far, Dick, and have the feeling that they're doing things they want to do. They're just not playing as well as they would like to play right now. It's got to be frustrating for them. For Bill Walsh, I think they're kind of the victims of great expectations, having been bumped out of the playoffs very rudely in the last 3 years. People here in San Francisco are saying, hey, get to the playoffs and get us another Super Bowl.
Here comes Craig, who has 92 yards in the game and close to the 100-yard mark as he's at the 45 of Denver and close to the 44, which would be a first down. I believe he's just shy.
There's some popping going on down on that field. Wilson right there up to blast Rice, and then Rice was going to go back and get him and got run over by one of his own linemen. Now that's frustrating.
Going to have to measure on the play. Well, you saw again with that close-up the power of Roger Craig. He really runs out of the old school. He defies you to bring him down.
He is a horse. You see how they're having to hold that football down to keep it from rolling with that wind howling, and you saw that it is short by about 2 feet, a foot and a half. Tunney will bring the ball out, bring a new ball out actually, and mark it. Let's see if they have to hold that ball down. They'll push it down and maybe dig a little hole for it. Now they're going to have to hold the ball on the turf until the center arrives to put his hand on it. Now you know that wind is howling down there.
Rathman is the lone setback behind Montana, 3rd and inches, and Montana straight ahead behind his veteran center Randy Cross, who played at UCLA, and Cross, who is a all-pro guard, now playing that center position. There he is, 6'3" and 265.
I'd say that's a fine offensive line, and Cross, the old-timer in that line, he's kind of the leader, calls those blocking combinations for Wallace and Sapolo and McIntyre and Barton. They are doing a good job of opening holes for, in particular, Roger Craig today, but also for Rathman. Rathman's had a couple of nice runs.
Craig was talking about that yesterday, how aggressive they are. There's Rice on the reverse. The other way. Out of bounds at the 26-yard line. And his average continues to be flashy indeed. 16 more for Rice.
And it looked to me, Dick, that if he had cut back, he might have been able to get another 5 or 10 yards on that play. Maybe that solid hit on the opposite sideline made him think about going inside. But boy, look at the speed here. There is no question he's got to be the fastest man on the field. And there was the little coast out of bounds. I think if he'd have cut inside Wilson's block, could have made another 5 or 10 yards.
Ronnie Lott says he times at 4.6 until they put a ball in his hands, and then he suddenly is a 4.2.
Just like he had a jet engine on there.
On first down, it's Roger Craig twisted down at the 22, and that'll be right at the 100-yard mark, either 99 or 100 yards. Make it 101. Craig, who was the first ever in the National Football League to rush for over 1,000 yards and catch passes for over 1,000 yards. That was in '85, and he could do it again this year.
I wonder if this is like running in a marathon. When you're going downwind, it's going to be a little easier on you. They are definitely going downwind on this leg of the journey, and Montana would love to be able to get 7 points here.
Leading 10-6 with 3:23 left in the third quarter. And it's Rathman. Well, that's a good name for a fullback, isn't it? Rathman. I mean, it just sounds ugly, mean, tough.
He is mean. Looks like he's shot out of a cannon sometimes when he comes up inside. And we talked about not wanting to tackle him anywhere but low. The other thing you don't want to do, if you're a linebacker in there and you see him coming in to block, you better just stack things up down low, because otherwise he'll take your hat right off your head.
3rd and 3. Inside is going to be very close at the 15-yard line.
Looks like he has gotten the first down, all a matter of the mark, but I think he's over the 15.
First down, says Tenney. Walt Boyer made the tackle.
And that's where that size advantage for this San Francisco 49er offensive line will pay its biggest dividends. They said they really simplified their running game for the Broncos. They tried to just use a few core plays, similar to the philosophy that the Washington Redskins used so effectively in the Super Bowl last year.
Now, this is the #1 offensive team in the NFL, the 49ers, and they're looking at another 400-yard day, although Craig gets only a yard on first down. Simon Fletcher, number 73, late at Houston, makes the stop. But they have only 10 points to show for all that yardage.
They need a touchdown here. Another field goal would not be that great a help. They would still be within a touchdown range of the Denver Broncos. They've got to be thinking of stretching that lead. And I said it earlier, when you have that many opportunities and you don't cash in, you create real problems for yourself.
Rice draws a lot of attention. Jerry Rice wide to the right. Wilson split left, and that's the tight end Heller. Has not caught a pass today. And it's Montana through the hands of Heller, and that's been the knock on this young tight end from Oregon State, that he can't make the tough catch or doesn't make it often enough. He's been playing behind John Frank. Frank injured, not in uniform today.
Frank had his hand operated on, will be out for a number of weeks, and Heller can catch the ball in practice, just has trouble in the game. And I'm sure that with experience he is going to become a fine receiver. Runs good patterns, is a good blocker, but as you saw there, Montana used to the steady hands of John Frank and the quick outlet to his tight end.
3rd and 9, and the place kicker of the 49ers, Kofer, getting ready just in case. And a timeout spent by Montana of San Francisco. It comes with 1 minute and 22 seconds left in the third quarter. And the score, 49ers 10 and Broncos.
Straight victory. Neil Lomax, 13 yards to J.T. Smith. His third touchdown pass of the day for Lomax. 31-7 Phoenix over Pittsburgh. Let's go back to Dick and Merlin and Candlestick.
Now Phoenix looking for its 4th win in a row here at San Francisco on a critical 3rd and 9 after the timeout. Montana, plenty of time. The pump fake, gets away. And pushed out of bounds at the 9-yard line. That'll be short of a first down. 5 yards for Montana. He was looking for Rice in the end zone, and he was covered well. So Kofer and the field goal unit on again for San Francisco.
Bit of a handicap, as we mentioned, for quarterback Montana, who's so used to the steady hands of John Frank in there. Wanted to go to his #1 man, Jerry Rice. He wasn't there, had to pull the ball down. Picked up some yardage, but they'll have to try for the field goal there.
Remember, Kofer hit the right upright on his last attempt. This is just 27 yards. He's got it. Boy, you can see the wind playing tricks with it. So back to a touchdown lead, San Francisco, with 1:09 left in the third. And some of the fans thought that Rice was open on that last play.
He's working on Guidry, a rookie, but watch Braxton, and that's what Montana saw, was Braxton drifting in on the inside, hoping the ball would be thrown to possibly pull down the interception.
At second man, and Montana wisely tucked it away, but had to settle for 5 yards and ultimately the field goal. Here's Kofer kicking off to Denver. 13-6 San Francisco leads. Final minute, third quarter, and out of bounds it goes, and with it, Denver will take it at the 35-yard line. Let's go back to the late scores. This one is a touchdown lead for San Francisco. Miami still leading 6. From the 35-yard line. But Winder was the key to the last drive, his running. And it's Winder who gets the call on first down. Dragged down by Larry Roberts, number 91, after a gain of 5.
A play that's designed to get a little screening effect from Steve Sewell, who comes across in motion just before the ball is snapped. Hard to see Winder in there, and of course they're counting on the fact that people will not see that back on that little draw play, but good job of stopping it for about a 4-yard gain.
Seconds left in the third quarter. Vance Johnson, the second man in motion, and it's Winder again. Out to the 43-yard line, a couple yards shy of the first down, and that probably the last play of this third quarter.
The running game not being tremendously effective, but you have to run the football. You see the trap by Bishop, 54, to spring the play inside. The gun ending this half, and Denver saying, now the wind is ours.
At the end of the third quarter, the score, touchdown lead for San Francisco. We'll be back after these messages from your local station.
Not only that, it strips the energy out of you, and where the 49er defense is lined up, that whipping breeze is bringing dirt right into their faces and mouths. It's going to take a while to shower today. You're going to have to wash it out of every nook and cranny.
We're as high as you can get at Candlestick, and there is even dust in all of our papers up here. That's how much is blown around. Start the fourth quarter with a key 3rd and 3 for Denver at their 42.5.
Shotgun. And there's some confusion for Denver. They were calling late. Good play.
Wilhite leaping forward for the first down at the 47. Gets 5 yards. Ronnie Lott coming up to assist on the tackle.
And Ronnie Lott had seen something, maybe anticipating that play, was pointing and yelling. I think they were trying to get a change in the defense just before that play was snapped.
Lott, they say, is a real yeller in that huddle. He really keeps things buzzing.
He sure does. They've missed him when he's been out of the lineup. He brings a much more physical approach to the game.
Playing very deep as a safety man. First down, Denver trailing by 7.
Look out.
Fumble, Dorsett fumbles, and San Francisco recovers. It's Ronnie Lott who falls on the ball.
Lott absolutely stole that football from Dorsett, and Dorsett expecting Lott to try and make the tackle, and Lott simply went in and stole the football. But a good play by Denver up to that point. Watch Lott go right after the football here. He just reaches in and strips it away and then gets his hands on it to cover the fumble.
Boy, he's a big play. You hear that in the most complimentary of terms. For some players who earn it. Big play man, and Ronnie Lott is all of that.
You can see why they miss him in there. 3rd turnover of the day for the Broncos.
They're -8 now in the turnover table, and that really concerns Reeves, who watches that statistic very closely. Roger Craig, boy, he carries men 4 yards after he's hit. Finally dragged down by Cragen and Fletcher and Mecklenburg.
Something that the Broncos have done very well over the years is what you just saw Ronnie Lott do, was strip that football away, and I'm sure that's what they're thinking about right now.
Other stories in this football Sunday, the 6th week of the season. Well, Craig is over 100 yards here. Ickey Woods had 139 yards and 2 touchdowns as the Bengals still unbeaten. Brent Fuller 118 yards for Green Bay in their first win. And Greg Bell 155 yards in the shutout at Atlanta scored by the Rams. Rathman into Denver territory has a first down at the 49.
49ers, I'm sure, will spend some time looking at that during the week. Right now, their major concern, running time off the clock. They'd love to be able to take that ball down and stick it in the end zone.
First down at the 49 as you see the other late scores. The only game at least dramatically close at San Diego where the Saints now lead by 6. Here a 7-point 49er lead, 13-6. Bill Walsh said he thought it'd take 4 touchdowns to win this game. Craig protecting the ball, gains 4 to the 45-yard line.
Carl Mecklenburg there. Well, you see, you got to run for cover to get away from that dust that's whipping up, and these 49er fans happy with the way the 49ers are playing, at least much happier with the score than they would be to see something else up there. You can see that wind just continues to whip down there.
201 yards rushing for San Francisco, and he's got more than half of them.
That was over his 100 yards just running the football today.
He's 6 for 6. Well, that's production, knowing you're going to get a century plus out of one player every game.
Audible call by Montana.
Craig again. Breaks that first tackle, breaks 2 more. He should have lost 2, and he gains about 3-4 yards.
How many times have we seen him run right through that first tackle today? It looks like Mark Haynes, number 36, one of the missed tackles. Watch him cut back against the grain here. Gets back inside of Craig, and there was Mark Haynes right there, and runs out of a second tackle. So he literally got out of 2 tackles to pick up that yardage.
Andre Townsend, 61, couldn't bring him down alone either. There's Haynes. That's a mismatch with Haynes at the corner. He's given away a few pounds, but boy, that Craig high knee action as well has to make it tough on the tackler.
He's a pumper.
5 seconds on the 45-second clock. 3rd and 2.
Fumble. Ball on the
And
ground.
Denver says they have it. Let's see.
Well, we talk about turnovers. The Broncos come up with a big one.
So Bill Walsh in frustration, his team moving the ball, controlling the game, and yet have only 13 points and are within a touchdown of being tied as they cough it up. And with it, a timeout. 11 minutes remaining here at Candlestick. Lead 13-6. And Denver recovers at the Bronco 42 to stop another San Francisco drive. 13-6, 49ers lead. Elway, lots of time. No one open. Finally underneath to Kay. Kay breaks tackles to the 42-yard line of San Francisco. Let's go back to the fumble as Montana was trying to beat the clock, running down about 3 seconds.
Same thing that happened to Elway earlier. Just never got his hands on that ball, and the guards who were pulling pushed Montana out of the way, and Denver able to pounce on that football. We're not going to get a chance to watch Elway, but what a decisive way to start this drive. You feel Elway saying, come on, now is the time.
First down at the San Francisco 42, trailing 13-6. Winder gets a block on the corner, and good yardage to the 35 before he's dragged down by Charles Haley. Got his college ball to James Madison.
Got a fine block by Ricky Nattiel out there that really kind of boxed things in. These Denver receivers had never been afraid to stick their heads in there. They were able to get Winder sprung free outside. Look on the outside of this picture. You'll see Ricky Nattiel coming in right there. You don't see the block, but you see the room that the block created for Sammy Winder.
And a gain of 7 yards. 2nd down and 3. It's Winder again. Wasn't much of a hole, but he fought for a yard or 2.
He'll be very close to a first down with that. May end up just short.
Ina Turner, Larry Roberts all in on the tackle.
As frustrating as a day as this has been for John Elway, I think if he can pull it together for his Bronco team here in the 4th quarter and get them back on track, this is such a critical game. They already feel that they're behind the 8 ball. A loss here, and they almost begin to think about next year.
He picked up a yard, so it's 3rd down and 2. It's closer to 2 than 1. Elway, using a page out of the Montana book, sneaks it forward to the 30. Not quite the delay on the quarterback draw, but a little fake step, and then right behind his center, Bill Bryan, has the first down. This
See
game.
the signals coming in for Gary Kubiak on the sideline. You're right about that, Dick. Montana, a different kind of quarterback than Elway. Elway's still strong quarterback. He's not quite as quick as we've talked about earlier, but still great strength.
So first down at the 30, and some of the fans at Candlestick getting nervous with 8:20 left. 13-6, a big hole for Winder, and he has another first down at the 22-yard line. Ricky Ellison makes the tackle.
Expecting, I think, to see Dorsett do some big things today, and I would imagine that the 49er defense a bit surprised that it's been Winder who has been the big tool in the running game for this Denver Bronco offense.
Make that not quite a first down. He picks up nearly 9 yards on the carry and now has 99 yards. Dorsett on the sidelines as Winder has taken charge, having a big game, a yard shy of 100 for Winder. Second down and short. Winder again. First down at the 19-yard line. Gardner, 7 minutes left. First down Denver inside the San Francisco 20. Elway on the roll. Out of bounds he goes as he loses the ball at the 16-yard line as Kevin Fagan, trailing the play, made the hit. 3 yards for Elway. This game is the property of the National Football League. San Francisco.
More than anything else, Elway wants to end the touchdown drought.
A drought that has now gone over 9 quarters plus an overtime. Incomplete to Mobley, and a flag is down and holding against Denver.
A late hit perhaps on Elway would be the only other possibility, and Elway holding his face on the ground, a hand to his face. Trainers being sent out onto the field, and take a look here. Looks like Elway really takes a shot right up the middle, right there, the helmet right underneath the chin. Ricky Ellison, I think, number 50.
Penalty is accepted, 10 yards.
And to rub salt in the wound, the penalty is against Denver for holding.
It looked like Elway caught Ricky Ellison's helmet right under the chin and just went down like a shot. Wouldn't surprise me if he doesn't have a cut, although the trainers letting him walk off the field. Must stay out now, 1 play.
Now the focus on Gary Kubiak, who replaces Elway. Kubiak, who has been a solid replacement but has not thrown a pass this season.
They're trying to ask Elway, do you know your name? How many fingers am I holding up? Making sure he's all right. 49ers continue to rotate people in and out of the game. They've got the sprinters in there, the pass rush specialists right now.
After the 10-yard penalty at 2nd and 17, Kubiak draw wide open at the 20. He's at the 14-yard line. What a call, and a flag goes down. 13 yards and maybe more. Stover and Lott finally got him to the ground, and maybe a late hit. Oh, Mask, and that'll take it down farther, and a first down for the Broncos.
This 49er defense has really hurt itself today with some critical penalties, several late hits, and there, the face mask reaching in. Number 42, Ronnie Lott, and Lott has made big plays today. That is a big play for the Denver Broncos.
Maybe a first down.
So it'll add 5 yards on to the 13 by Kubiak. They needed 17 for a first down, so they may be measuring. And here comes Elway, and what a job by Kubiak for 1 play. On a 2nd and 17, perhaps getting the first down.
5 yards, and it would appear that that will give them the first down. It does. Again, can set his sights on the end zone.
Well, they had 1st and goal at the 4 and had to settle for a short field goal early in the game. And without overstating the fact, the Broncos have been in a terrible touchdown drought. They're into their 10th quarter without a touchdown. Elway floods the right area, goes over the middle for a touchdown. Vance Johnson. And was he left alone? Somebody missed an assignment.
Doesn't matter that it was easy, just matters that they got it in there. They've now put that drought behind them, and you see the celebration. That's one happy football team on the sideline right now. And you kind of feel the air go out of the players on the San Francisco sideline. I think they realize that they have their hands cut out, or their job cut out for them, as The game will now be tied if they can get this one-pointer through. There's Vance Johnson.
For Elway, only his 6th touchdown pass in 6 games. Carlos adds the extra point, and with 6 minutes and 23 seconds left, it's a new game in Candlestick Park, San Francisco. Broncos 13, 49ers 13.
Second kick. And Carlos has it dead center up the middle.
Is that a penalty shot?
That's a penalty shot. A relief shot. San Francisco 49ers thinking very quickly. All right, look, we haven't capitalized on the opportunities we have had here in the early part of this ball game. We've let Denver get back into the ball game. Now it's our job to get back out there, take charge, get some more points on the board. The disadvantage they have right now is that they are working against the wind, and that makes it tougher offensively.
And for Bill Walsh, his team was driving in control of the game, running well, and then they fumbled snap from center at the Denver 42, and the Broncos taking advantage of that turnover march for their first touchdown in a long time. And a key play certainly was Kubiak off the bench. One play getting them a first down on a 2nd and 17.
Within division, 2 are the tough ones. 3 losses within division, and 2 of those at home.
Kicks it deep, and the wind carries it right over the head of Doug DeBose. It's first down San Francisco at the 20-yard line. Sports Day on NBC just a couple of weekends. Will be in Louisville, Kentucky for the Breeders' Cup. Now the pressure here on San Francisco, trying to go 5-1, stay with New Orleans and the Rams in the NFC West. They start at the 20. Roger Craig, and with those 5 yards, he's now at 122, his all-time game high with the 49ers. Final end, New Orleans 23, San Diego 17. 3 Morton Anderson field goals, the difference there. So Saints and Rams have both won. They're 5-1, and San Francisco needs a victory to stay tied for the lead in the West.
Just an aside, the only 2 teams that Bill Walsh has not defeated in his tenure here in San Francisco, the Denver Broncos and the San Diego Chargers. Interesting.
Reeves has beaten him twice. Rathman has the first down across the 30-yard line. Simon Fletcher cut him down with a tackle, but Rathman fell about 4 yards after the hit.
Maybe we can put that graphic back in. We didn't get a chance to talk to you about it. The surprisingly effective day for the Denver Broncos.
San Francisco averaging over 400 yards a game coming into this one, number 1 in the NFL, and they're going to be up there again. Craig, look at the explosion and the effort of Craig, who has 10 more.
A great trap block inside by Jesse Sapolo, number 61, who just powers inside. Maybe we can get a chance to do it for you. Watch Sapolo, who's playing right here. Watch Sapolo just come inside. A little block back by the center, and Craig will rip up inside through a very open hole. Look at that. Bingo. And there's Roger Craig stepping again. Look at the leg power as he just drives out of those tackles.
Yeah, it's a great shot to show you how important the timing articulation is. Montana on top to Rice. And the wind held that up just enough for Steve Wilson to save the touchdown. As Rice was sprinting clear, the ball just died in midair.
On a day without that breeze, that's a touchdown because Rice had just simply run away from the coverage. Montana with plenty of arm, but the wind, as you said, just killing the football, and that's what happens to you when you start to face that breeze.
Winder and Craig, and Winder's second half performance has pulled Denver back into the game. And on 3rd down and short yardage, 49ers wedge it out and have another 4 downs. The clock now becomes
Importantly, let's get some points on the board.
And they'll be, if the field goal is a factor, kicking into the wind, of course. They're 14 yards from 400 for the day as Montana on top. He's got those 14 or close to it, and a first down at the Denver 42. Mark Haynes makes the tackle. Roger Craig with a tough catch. And a penalty flag down against San Francisco.
And Roger Craig cannot believe it. The hard work of getting the completion out there. 2 seconds left in the game to beat the Giants. But let's look at this play.
Jesse
See if
Sapolo,
you can,
61.
61 right at the top of your screen. He's got a wrestling hold there. Takedown. There's the hit we talked about. Mike Haynes.
Well, Mark Haynes, who has done some good work with a leveling receiver, although he's playing off the ball there.
Certainly having a very strong year.
That's where the program will be seen at its regular time. Dick Enberg with Merlin Olsen. We have 3 minutes and 14 seconds remaining in the fourth quarter. The game is tied, San Francisco and Denver at 13.
The question might be asked here as to why Steve Young is in the ballgame. We've had no indication that Montana is hurt. We do know that Montana was sick earlier in the week. Lost
flu.
about 10 pounds and maybe weakening some. But also, we'd have to maybe wonder that Young's great running ability would figure into this, and we may see him roll out of there. Yes, indeed. There he goes.
Plus the fact he has a stronger arm and throwing into the wind, that could be another reason. So there's several trying to guess with Bill Walsh why Young, not Montana's in there. But Greg Cragen makes the tackle.
Well, here's the rollout we predicted, and Young is an outstanding runner, but he can't outrun number 71. Greg Cragen comes from the nose tackle position. Watch it right here, a very sure ankle tackle on Steve Young.
And it's ruled a sack for Denver with 2:37 left. He's about to beat Pittsburgh. Third down and 18. Young looking for a bunch. He's a great scrambler, and here he counts. To the 42-yard line, Randy Robbins, number 48, made the tackle for Denver, and they'll have to punt.
Walsh not taking any chances. Well, short of the 10 yards. I was looking at the post there. He's actually 11 yards shy of the first.
The Helton hasn't seen much duty here in the second half. Boy, look at the wind take that one. That ball's going nowhere.
Almost blew it right back with a great bounce.
And Wilhite fields it at the 32-yard line.
About a 20-yard bounce. That ball came straight down and it jumped toward the Denver goal line.
Normally, when you kick them into the wind like that, it bounces back in your face, and had it, that would have been a no game. Away and company. Crowd will try to help. Elway is sacked. Danny Stubbs, the rookie from Miami.
Exactly the kind of play they hoped to get through. And Elway was limping slightly as he came back onto the field. We'll keep an eye on him.
There's a little safety valve middle screen to Wilhite, and he plows across the 30 to the 32-yard line to get the 10 yards lost on the sack, plus a couple. It'll be third down and 8 or 9 to go.
With the possibility of interception here.
1:10 remaining. Elway. Now he has a man wide open, and he throws short to Sewell, who had the sack to start this sequence.
The eagerness to get in and take another shot at Elway.
Third down and 3, not third and 7.
First down.
Wilhite right at the chains. Let's see where they mark it. I believe they're going to give him the 42. That would be a first down.
They're happy to have Gerald Wilhite back in the lineup.
45-44. The longest field goal ever for Carlos is 51 yards, just to give you an indication of where Elway has to go. There's that same play up the middle with the screen, and Wilhite is to the 49-yard line.
We haven't.
It's not a predictable straight from behind. It's a swirling storm. Intercepted. And Elway makes the saving tackle at the 39-yard line as Darryl Pollard, number 26, makes the big play. Hold on, the Broncos are saying there's a penalty, and they still have the ball with 16 seconds left.
We've had a couple of critical calls.
21 defense before the pass is intercepted.
This San Francisco defense continues to self-destruct in critical situations. They've had 2 late hits. They had right there a penalty that takes the football out of their hands and puts it right back into the hands of the Denver Broncos.
It was called against the veteran defensive back Eric Wright, number 21.
Let's look for it if we can. We don't see it. No. Obviously back on the other side of the field, but it doesn't matter. Well, I don't know about you, Dick. There it is, far right-hand side, and you saw the throw of the flag right there.
It was a check outside the 5-yard zone.
You can't pop those receivers once they get beyond 5 yards.
So the first down for Denver, 16 seconds, no timeouts left for Elway. He has to go sidelines. It is caught by Mobley, who was tackled at the 15, but Denver has no timeouts left.
5 seconds. I don't think...
Well, they've called a timeout here, but according to I guess they did have one remaining. The word we had received was they had only one timeout left. They've used one since then, but apparently Dan Reeves did have one remaining, and now they can bring on the field goal unit. Oh, my.
An opportunity for Carlin to put it up.
Well, that was a 28-yard play. How Cake caught that ball with 49ers diving around him. It was an outstanding play.
I think that's a hard one to judge for the defenders. The ball whipping with the wind. Here's a chance to look at it from high above. Mobley, far side of your screen. 2 defenders right there reaching for the football. But number 89 gets it, and then a few more yards. Boy, that's a big play. And now, right back in the lap of number...
Last week has kicked well here today, and he's kicking off the grass.
He's kicked 2 short ones, 27 yards. This one is 34 with 5 seconds left. This would win it. If he misses, we go overtime. Right as that wind drove it.
And the devil winds of Kezar have denied Reeves what he thought was a sure opportunity to step out of here with a victory. It now will go to OT.
Well, it almost was driven into Kezar Stadium. You're right. So with 2 seconds left, San Francisco will have a cosmetic down, and then we'll go overtime. In fact, they're going to line up with Jerry Rice back at his own 5-yard line as a protector. And so it is. Overtime at Candlestick Park. 4 in a row for the Cardinals. At home, they beat Pittsburgh 31-14. Here it's 13 all. As Carlos kicks it off to start the overtime period. 1 15-minute period. Sudden death. DeVos. He hit at the 20 and falls to the 22. Pat Kelly, reserve tight end, number 86 down the field, makes a big hit.
Kelly had a block.
They brought Rice around as if it was a reverse, and Craig holds on out to the 27-yard line, maybe the 28.
Walsh loves those gadget plays. He's hit us and the Denver defense with a couple of beauties in terms of reverses today to Rice. And of course, taking advantage of that with the fake reverse, but Denver's defense reacted well. 2nd and 5. Pressure on him. Boy, hand him an Alka-Seltzer. Give him something. Stomach churning.
On 2nd and 5. Montana. Great catch. Great throw. On the run. Did he lead him perfectly with Jim Ryan coming up from linebacker and Marquines at cornerback. Defensively for Denver, it'll be just shy of the first down, apparently.
I wonder how Montana judged the windage on that one. That's a tough pass. That's crosswind. He's able to get it drifting out there, and a great catch right there by Rathman. 3rd and short yardage.
1 yard for the first down. And it's a first down. You just see how even the scrimmage control has been. That the 49ers need control. They don't want to have to punt into that win at this stage. And Craig is going to be close.
Very, very close to the first down. That was a strong tackle inside by 77 Mecklenburg, who put a real cruncher on Craig.
And they're going to measure.
And it would be interesting here if they're short away. Well, he doesn't have to make the choice.
First down for San Francisco. Montana staring into that setting sun over the western sidelines where San Francisco's bench is located. He gets his read, and that always isn't perfect either. As Bill Walsh told us against the Lions last week, he signaled in a very safe pass, and Montana misread the signals and went for a hook and lateral play, and he said, oh, Walsh said, oh, my goodness, late in the game. I could just see that lateral laying on the ground. Here comes Craig. And several Broncos, Boyer, Townsend and company to make the tackle after short yardage.
This has been a gallant effort by this Bronco defense with the injuries that they had coming in, the injuries they've had today, to hold the 49ers to 13 points and to be able to turn them away as many times as they have. It's been a fine day for them. And at this point, with the kind of exhaustion that you have, you just got to reach down and suck it up.
410 yards, total yards now. Play action, and what a throw again. Complete to Mike Wilson at the 50-yard line.
And you've got to wonder, Dick, if maybe that wind is easing up a little bit as Montana has been able to complete a second pass, but he is throwing it low and on a string. Well, I tell you, dangerously close to the ground, but well done. He's been able to beat the wind twice on this drive, moving the ball to just nose up on the 50-yard line. Of Mike Wilson.
Short passes, ground game, and now Montana into the flat, incomplete.
The football.
You won't see that often from Roger Crick. 2nd and 10, Montana. And down goes Montana with flags flying around him.
I think we got a holding call, which probably will be refused because it's going to be about a 6-yard loss on the sack.
And Montana gets up holding his rib cage. Man ticketed for the penalty, but Denver, of course, takes the sack, and it's 3rd down. About 16 to go from the 44-yard line. Here's a big play as Denver eager to get the ball, and now Steve Young handles it as if there's a mix-up here.
He has some confusion. Said you got to be the other way. Let's see if he rolls it out to his left. Yep, there he goes, drifting out.
He throws high and intercepted by Denver at the 32-yard line. Going out of bounds with the ball is Mark Haynes.
Bill Walsh cannot believe it. Started out on the field. Let's keep an eye on quarterback as he comes off, and he doesn't want to get close enough to talk to Bill Walsh.
Walsh is there to greet him. He's not going to get around him.
Why are you throwing that football? Man covered, obviously. In fact, excellent coverage on the play. You'll see it on the left-hand side of your screen. Rolls left, looks back, and throws to a man who's double covered. And there it is. You can't double cover him any better than that.
Well, it may have been as good as a punt into the wind anyway. Had it been incomplete. And now it's Denver's chance. And Winder loses a yard on 1st down. Read well by Ricky Ellison. Played at Southern California. And Larry Roberts from Alabama.
Montana is still aching on the sideline. Can't tell whether it's ribs, stomach, groin, what it is.
For Craig, a career high, 141 yards. Vance Johnson, who has the touchdown for Denver, in motion. Elway to Johnson, and he's out of bounds with a 1st down at the 43-yard line.
There's the magic we talked about. The ability after the play has broken down to make something happen that is positive for your team. Elway sprints out, gets some extra time to the outside, finds the open receiver, completes the play for a 1st down. Here's Elway. Elway gets the extra time with his legs, and you see Johnson left-hand side of your screen as he throws back against his body. Boy, now I don't know how he can complete that pass, but he did.
1st down for the Broncos. 10:18 left in sudden death overtime. Winder met in the backfield for another loss.
99.
Michael Walder in
Michael
there.
Walder and Ronnie Lott on the blitz. Woof.
Ronnie Lott, a big hitter and a big game player. 2 on 1st down. And so Elway moves to the shotgun. To the sidelines. Almost picked off. A On the far side by number 22, Tim McKyer, who intercepted Elway pass in the end zone in the first quarter.
So very close. McKyer, you'll see him at the top of your picture. He's backed off, and here he comes on acceleration, arrives just as the football arrives. Boy, you can't time it any better than that. Kicks it out of the hands right there.
Vance Johnson didn't sell his pattern very well. They came out there and soft-stepped his move to the outside, and McKyer read it well.
I think that foot's still bothering him a little bit on his cut.
Third and long. Down the middle. Kay can't get it. Incomplete. And San Francisco will get another chance as the punting team comes on for Denver. Came into this game as the top punter in the NFL. With a win, end over end. Takes a big Denver bump. And covering it at the last second was number 29, Don Griffin, at the 10-yard line. Flirting with disaster.
That ball jumped with the wind as it kicked up. Almost got away, and there's a flag on the field.
It's the one touchdown drive of the game for the 49ers in the first half started on their 5-yard line, and that's how they start here with Young, the quarterback. And the busy Roger Craig carrying the ball for 2. In the second quarter, Montana started the drive going right to left with the wind.
Audible call from Young.
Inside hand off the ring, and the big fullback and a flag down. Appears to be against San Francisco. Rathman had enough yardage for an apparent first down, but there it is, the ugly holding call if you're a 49er. 12 yards to go from just outside the 3. 8 minutes left in overtime. Yeah, good thing. And he's throwing long for Taylor.
Ooh.
And no flag. The fans are screaming for one. Harden and Steve Wilson on the coverage.
Walsh pulling out the stops in an area with them backed up against their own goal line.
A critical third down for the 49ers, or they're going to be punting from their own end zone. Intercepted by Denver, Steve Wilson. Wilson at the 5, and he is to the 4-yard line on the deflection, and the Broncos are celebrating.
And how many times have we seen this Denver defense come up with the big interception? Steve Wilson, number 45, again playing because of the injury to Jeremiah Castile. He's the guy that's in there to make the big play. This ball bounces out of the hands of the intended receiver right there. Jerry Rice right through his hands and right into the waiting arms of Steve Wilson. Wilson does a good job of getting away from his counterpart, Mike Wilson, to get an extra 5 yards before they finally took him down.
I think Jerry Rice looked up. He saw Tyrone Braxton coming up to make the hit, who lost sight of the ball. I believe Elway is just going to set this up in the middle of the field, and we might see a field goal try on second down. Right into the middle of the line goes Dorsett.
Yeah, here it is.
And here comes the field goal unit.
Not taking any chances. They're going to go right now. And the advantage of that is that if you happen to miss fire on the field goal, you're not on a fourth down situation. You just cover it and go ahead and take it on another opportunity. Carlos, by the way, has to be saying, thank God that I'm going to get another chance after that miss.
He missed in the final seconds of regulation from 34 yards. This one is not much more than an extra point. They'll spot the ball at the 13, a 23-yard attempt. The Broncos 16, the 49ers 13, and a flag is down. Hold on. Let's check the flag.
Don't celebrate yet, fellas. Find out who the penalty is on.
Number 42 is declined. Field goal is good. The game is over. Shoot it.
Penalty against Ronnie Lott. Unsportsmanlike conduct. That could be for a lot of things. The game is over. The wave of victory to Bill Walsh, who watches his 49ers move the ball up and down the field. and unable to put it in the end zone or get any points, and he goes 4-2, and the Broncos with a most important winner now, 3-3. Steve Wilson with that interception in the overtime period is our Budweiser most valuable player. Budweiser will make a contribution to the United Way on behalf of all the MVPs selected in today's game. 419 yards for the 49ers, but they pay off in points, and Denver goes home in overtime with Rich Carlos's field goal and a